What is up, Ramley? We got ourselves a win on Sunday. Up and down, stressful, no rest for the weary and the wicked. But a W is a W is a W is a W. How many times do we have to say that before it bites them in the butt? I thought this one was going to be the one. I thought this was going to be the time that it got out of hand for him. Joining us from across the world in Melbourne, Australia, Aaron Coscarelli, joining the LAFB network to talk all things Rams football. How we doing, Aaron?
We're good. How am I sounding? I am down under. And I really appreciate you making the time because it's currently 10 a.m., 9:48 Australia time. And they do love their football down here, but trying to watch football, not so easy. Have all the apps and the NFL Game Day Plus and keep your Twitter open because it was a bit dicey, which is why I'm glad to be joining you because if you're Australian, you love football. The concept is a little different, but they are just as passionate. So I'm glad that I was able to get on with you because I was able to catch most of the game. But when I was, trying to download everything and seeing that the Rams were down, listen, it's been a stressful season to be a Rams fan. When you asked earlier, you're like, you thought this was going to be the one. What did you mean by that? You thought it was game over, or you thought it was in the bag that the Rams should really lock this up?
I thought, okay, so it was the Kyren Williams fumble, and I thought, wow, they're going to let this one slip through. They're going to allow.
You thought they were going to take an L against the Colts, and it should have been a slam dunk this week.
I don't know about a slam dunk. This is a good team. They're undefeated heading into this week. Had a great offense heading into this week. A serviceable defense, we'll say, so far. So I thought it would be a close game, but I didn't think it was going to come down to this. I thought it was going to feel a little bit more under control. Especially from the Rams offense. I thought, something that you and I have talked about, I've talked about on the show plenty of times. When are we going to see a complete game, 4 quarters, where they don't seem inept at times, where they go 4 and out on a few occasions? And I know this team isn't going to be perfect. But, my expectations heading into this year is this is a Super Bowl winning team. Yeah. And I've yet to see a Super Bowl winning performance. And obviously you're not going to win the Super Bowl for 4 games into the year. You're not going to lose a Super Bowl either. But I just want some assurance that this is a playoff team, that when they do get to the playoffs, they have some more consistency. So, yeah.
Stringing together 4 quarters consistently has seemed to be the prevailing theme for the Rams, right? We saw with the Titans, they finished the game strong in the second half. Against the Eagles, they started fast. And by the way, that was sort of the storyline last year. They just seemed to have slow starts, whether it was in the game actually or in the season. And this one just felt like, again, another nail biter that I thought heading into this game, not that it was necessarily a slam dunk, but I was not sold on Daniel Jones. I knew that what we were able to do in keeping Saquon Barkley largely in check, virtually useless the entire game last week. I thought we'd have the same theme moving forward, and a good and progress moving forward for this team to learn something from last week. And I'm a perennial optimist, but I'd love to get your take on where do you feel like the Rams, what went wrong, and where do you feel like the Rams still need to do some work?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Fourth and 1 call, 4th and 2 call early on in the game. We want McVay to be aggressive, but is a scramble with Matthew Stafford the way to go? Is that the right play call? No, absolutely not. offensive line has been banged up. Stafford's been put under a lot of pressure in this game. Who's the other guy? Who's the other guy other than Puka Nacua? Now, Davante Adams had himself a decent game. No shade, but they're having to pepper Puka. He hurts his thumb in this game, goes out for a few minutes, comes back. But is that constant beating up going to affect this team? It's hard to pinpoint it on one thing, but offensively, I think you just have to be a lot more consistent. Putting up more points is where it's got to be. Settled for, again, a couple of field goals in this situation. I think the Rams got really lucky because I think that in a couple instances, this Colts team beat themselves. A.D. Mitchell sticking out his hand, dropping an eventual touchdown, a easy touchdown, and turning the ball over, giving the ball to the Rams, touchback. That's luck. And then the last few. Let me pull this up. This was just a gift. This last drive, one of the last drives that Indy put together, was just one of the just a gift that they handed to the Rams. There was a bunch of negative plays, penalties. I want to pull up the play-by-play on this one just to read it out aloud.
Yeah, I mean, I think those gifts otherwise against a contender, a Super Bowl contending team, you're not going to see that. And it's just unfortunate because I think it means McVay has to go back again to the drawing table when, you think not that it's the Colts necessarily are an easy out, but I mean, you're not thinking that Daniel Jones is stringing together certainly an all-star performance, but you did see some good things. I want you to go and tell us the play-by-play that you were going to talk about, and then, I'll just insert my positivity here because, it's annoying. I like to do it, but go for it.
No, I love it. It's a 17-yard pass to Tyler Warren, tacked on an extra 15 yards. So that's a positive thing for the Colts. Negative 3-yard run. Then they have a false start penalty that backs them up 5 yards. So that now they're back at the 49. Quentin Lake gets dinged for a pass interference, but then a touchdown is nullified because of an A.D. Mitchell offensive holding that backs him up another 10 yards and nullifies a touchdown. And then Daniel Jones is sacked for negative 9 yards, fumbles the ball. They're just moving backwards. And obviously, Jared Verse, what a play by Jared Verse. I mean, how fantastic was that? Didn't look like he was going to get the sack, but he had the awareness of mind to go ahead and just knock that ball out for a fumble. But that's just a drive that it was kind of gifted to the Rams. The Colts really shot themselves in the foot. But obviously, one of my stars of the game has got to be Jared Verse. It was crunch time, and he came up with a big play, and that's what I've wanted to see. So positivity there for sure.
I love it. No, and I think you have to be willing to look at yourself. And the secondary showed up after getting absolutely torched by A.J. Brown in the second half. What did they have? Two INTs, and they needed to work around that situation. I mean, again, it's Daniel Jones we're talking about. It's not Jalen Hurts necessarily. Stringing together some momentum, at least in the secondary. And I think that's always been a point of contention. I mean, obviously, in the draft, a lot of criticism there that they didn't look to anybody to sort of build around. And, of course, the Jalen Ramsey rumors and all of that. But you like to see that at the very least. And, of course, yes, like you mentioned, the Jared Verse performance just seems like he is really coming into his own. And during training camp, and you were there, we were talking to him, just didn't you feel like he was He was sort of already confident, but the kind of leadership we're seeing from him in the defense just speaks so highly of where this team defensively can go, right? Don't you feel like, look, they're going to next week, we can talk briefly about it, they're going to face the 49ers, and then I believe after that they have to deal with Derrick Henry. And I think the big thing we learned the most last week was, of course, are they able to improve their run defense?
Yeah. And I think between Saquon Barkley and this week, they didn't give up any legal explosive touchdown or any rushing explosive runs in this game. And they obviously shut down Saquon Barkley in a big way. Now, I think that Jonathan Taylor still had a good day. He still averaged over 4 yards per carry. They're playing from behind a bit, so I think they got away from that a bit. But really just taking away those explosive runs was something that was really hard for them last year and nearly cost them games. And so, really improved. Puka Nacua had himself a nice game. Nate Landman again, looking good. Omar Spates in the run game, a little too aggressive at times. Got himself a little bit of a penalty there. But I think, defensively, things are starting to come into their own. I think they do have to go out and find another cornerback. I think, 2 weeks straight, Emmanuel Forbes, 2 pretty bad games. So I think they got to do something in that realm to pad that. So he's not out there continuously. I think, defensively, they're looking consistent at least. Now it's highly volatile. It's up and down. But they weren't, the Colts weren't able to run their normal game plan. And I thought it was kind of interesting that they tried to run their normal game plan instead of going to Tyler Warren more, playing a bit more of that underneath game. But the pressure is on. That's the defensive front. So you can't, just, huck the ball down and expect all those plays to work out. And the Daniel Jones of it all, he came in having just been sacked twice. They picked up 2 sacks. And this team had not turned over the ball at all. And they got first 2 touchdowns or interceptions on Daniel Jones at the hands of the Rams. So, defensively, they made a lot of mistakes. They created a lot of these mistakes. So a lot of consistency there. And the Colts had faced a really good defense in the Colts in the Broncos, 2 horse teams. And, maybe the Rams are a better defense than the Broncos, which is pretty amazing.
Well, and I think what I'm hearing from you, Ryan, as we, I love doing these recaps with you, by the way. Should we keep doing them all season, guys? Do you think we should do it? I think it's great. I mean, look, I will do anything. I will jump on early in the morning, down under, if I have to meet with you and chat with you about the Rams. But if I'm picking up what you're putting down, I think especially with the Rams coming back home, feeling pretty snake bit about the game against the Eagles, should have been a W in the win column. I think you're right. I was getting text messages from so many people like, is this really happening right now? Could the Rams actually lose to the Colts at home back-to-back weeks? And again, I think hitting home your point, Ryan, it's like we just haven't seen, even in the wins, a consistent play of game every single quarter. But because I feel like we got to give the people we just got to give people hope moving forward as they have a big divisional matchup against the Niners. Thursday night football. Again, I think that's at home. I liked what we saw. We finally saw, post-game last week, and I was kind of jumping in on the critiques. We haven't seen much out of Tutu Atwell. And of course, he had that huge, 88-yard score. And that was, it's like, are we getting ahead of ourselves when we sort of dissect this team now that we are, it's week 4 and the Rams are 3-1 heading into a Thursday night primetime matchup against the Niners? I guess my biggest question for you is, What do we know about this team so far?
We know it's going to be a volatile year. It's going to be up and down. I think this is the way it's going to go.
Get ready, Rams fans. Yeah.
I would like to see some consistency, some mastery of the offense. We've kind of already hashed all of that out. I mean, I think Kyren Williams is the backbone of this team.
I mean, and even Blake, you know what else is great too is the balanced attack of Blake Corum. He was, pretty quiet last season. And then we finally kind of get to see a nice balanced approach. Jarquez Hunter, not so much getting involved. Even Terrence Ferguson, I think a lot of people kind of scratching their heads like, when's that guy going to get involved? Especially since we burned a pretty, second round pick on him. But I guess all that stuff remains to be seen. But I like what we're seeing out of that Blake Corum backfield, 1-2 punch out of him and Kyren Williams, don't you think?
Yeah, 100%. And it was really working well in this game. Indiana came in giving up a lot of yards on the ground, struggling in run defense, and they took advantage of that. Mm-hmm. And I think McVay is learning this. He's taking that into consideration more. He's running the ball more consistently. He's not getting away from it when they're down necessarily. And not a huge game for Blake Corum. Huge game for Kyren though, not just for yards per carry. He had the fumble, obviously, that was very costly. That could have cost them the game. But he's also been fantastic in the passing game, too, just as a pass blocker. Just really throwing his body at everybody. Just take a couple of things from the comments here. Davante Adams' hamstring, that's not something we mentioned. He came into this game. It was questionable, hamstring injury, missing time in practice. Could be. Don't know.
Oh, that's a good point.
We haven't really seen. We've seen one big game from him, and they were kind of spamming him a little bit to kind of work him into the offense. It felt like I want to, it was like that with Cooper Kupp as well, though. Stafford just kind of finds his guy, keeps singling him out, and is that a problem at some point? I don't know.
Right.
Rams from Rob, of course.
Yeah, Rob. What's up, Rob? Hey, Eric.
He keeps finding ways to stay in the game. Chanel won last week. Hopefully they can keep finding ways, even when they're not playing good football. Yeah. And that's sometimes until you find yourself, that's what you got to do. And we'll kind of go around the horn on the NFC and just talk about that for a little bit and where they stand in the NFC. Christopher says, and I'm looking for an explanation on this one, stop talking about last year's defenses. Just clarify that for us and let us know.
Chris, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? Last year's defenses. I mean, I think we're saying that it's that we're seeing an improvement in what Chris Shula is able to do in his second year there. And what was interesting was the big storyline, of course, during training camp was the offense, right? Of course, getting Davante and hopefully adding some depth to their tight end room. But it feels like the biggest storyline to me this season so far is how the defenses are keeping the team in the game, no? I mean, is that what Chris was talking about? Chris, please explain when you get a chance. Thank you very much.
Oh, look at this. We got a thank you from a Jags fan.
Oh, boy. The Niners did not beat the Jags.
Yeah. Well, let's pay some bills and then we'll talk about the NFC landscape. But Sleeper Fantasy, guys, if you're not on this already, get on it. It's a blast. They're doing the daily pick'em. They got fantasy. They got all the sports. You can put some of your money down on all sorts of fun things. We put in our picks with Brittany Betts, who you guys know and love from Twitter. I don't think we did very well on those, so don't take any of our picks as advice for sure. But Sleeper is a lot of fun. You can play it with friends. You can meet new friends on their app. You can do daily pick 'em up to 8 picks. Pick your sport. We got the MLB playoffs coming up. Dodgers going into the wild card. Clayton Kershaw picking up his last regular season win of his career, guys.
Woo-hoo.
Hockey, basketball, right around the corner. it's a great time. I mean, that's all I can say. Use the code Rams LAFB. Get up to $100 back. You put in $5, they're going to give you $5. You put in $50, they're going to give you $50. It's a good time. If you like sports, it's a good time. That's all I got to say. Download the app, get it, have fun with it. This is the fastest growing fantasy sports strategy games out there. So get on now. Beat your friends to it. Tell everybody. Up to $100 back. So you bring up the 49ers dropping one by 5 points to the Jags. So we're all knotted up at the top of the NFC West. Yep. 3 teams, all up there, all tied. Cardinals are 2-2, losing to Seattle on Thursday Night Football. We've got the Bucs dropping a game. We've got the Green Bay Packers playing the Cowboys tonight. I'm really interested to see what this Packers team looks like after a strange and hard beatdown by the Cleveland Browns, which I got to tell you guys, beware of the Cleveland Browns. They have a great defense. Jim Schwartz knows how to beat the Shanahan, McVay, LaFleur offense. Plays a lot of man coverage, a lot of pressure. Myles Garrett getting after people. That whole Browns defensive line is really fantastic. So I'm guessing the Packers come out with a win. I think Micah Parsons has a huge game. Then you've got the undefeated Eagles, who just beat the Bucs. Now the Eagles played the Cowboys, then the Chiefs, then the Rams, and then the Bucs. All of those teams, maybe not the Cowboys, playoff bound likely. So, what do you think? What's the hierarchy? How high up are the Rams in the NFC right now?
Yeah, I mean, I love doing this so early in the season because we still have so much football left to play. But yeah, I think, this is the time where we can start to identify what the team's identities are. And with the turnovers that the Niners had against the Jags, special team miscues, obviously there's some injuries there. I think it's just starting to show again what you hit on earlier in the show when we talk about what the Rams quote unquote miscues are. In my opinion, it's what team has the ability to string together consistency against good teams, against good defenses. And you're starting to see, like you said, everybody's sort of at least in the NFC West, it's getting it's a tighter race. No one's really showing too much. Where are the Rams in terms of the NFC? I would say, I think it's hard for me. And I say this because I don't want to get ahead of myself, good or bad. I say it's still so hard to say where the Rams actually are in terms of the NFC, because we have seen some unbelievable lightning rod moments from this team, whether it's a sidearm pass from Stafford to Davante. Obviously, Puka, to me, at least in the NFC, feels like he's the best wide receiver, but I've put that out there and people want to, at me, that's fine. And when this team is all cylinders is firing, I feel like they are actually the best team in the NFC. Because we really should have had that game beat against the Eagles. If we would the Rams would be 4-0 right now, would you not think, just because we've seen some inconsistencies and obviously there's questions about the secondary, which definitely are valid. I'm happy with what we're seeing on the defensive line. I'm happy what we're seeing in the middle of the defense. I like our running attack. Obviously, you've got Sean McVay as your head coach. If we didn't have how last week ended and the Rams were entering week 5 against banged up 49ers that just lost to the Jags, and they were 4-0, where would we be saying that the Rams are? I'm curious. And by the way, let people jump in. Tell me what you guys think. I'm happy to hear it. I just think this conversation, and of course, yes, we saw some let's say hair pulling moments against the Colts at home. But would this conversation and where we would put the Rams in terms of the NFC would be a different conversation if they ended up winning last week against the Eagles on the road, which they had it in the bag?
Yeah, I mean, I think that was actually probably a good thing that they didn't get out with a win, because everybody would be hyping them up. Everybody would be talking about the Rams being one of the best teams in the NFC, hands down, period. And I just think so. There's an element of this team that plays down to their level of competition, or up to. They meet every team, and they allowed this team to stick around. They didn't strike and put them out of their misery early. In some ways that was true even against the Titans. In some ways, even though they ended up scoring 33 points against that team, I believe. You got to put them in the top 3, though. We'll see how the Packers bounce back, but the level of competition, if you're looking around, San Francisco does not seem like they're going to be getting any healthier. They might be losing more people. Seattle, super inconsistent as well. Do they kind of find some identity and some consistency from their offense? I think their defense is doing just fine. We know Kyler Murray is never going to find any consistency. His ceiling is high, but his floor is super low.
Right.
I think 2-2 Commanders lost another one today. Point differential, they're up 16 points. So they're beating up on bad teams, losing close games. I think the Eagles are finding their way as an offense. They've scored more than 30 points in, I think, their last 2 games, and 24 against the Cowboys and 20 against. So, they're kind of finding their sea legs. Again, the Green Bay Packers, I'm going to wait till after tonight. Detroit Lions, again, their point differential, they've won 3 straight, point differential plus 49. Seattle Seahawks plus 44. I'm just looking at all these right now, and then the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, I think that's probably the top comp for me. I think they're playing a lot like Baker Mayfield ball right now, where they're just kind of relying on Matthew Stafford to, go be heroic, in the last few minutes of the game. And he was last week too. He was nails setting up those field goals. They just couldn't convert, and so it comes down to the margins, and the margins just have not been consistent. Yeah. They just haven't been, red zone, third down.
Right. Red zone last week was an issue, right? And look, listen here, Ryan. I don't know how long I'm gonna be saying this theme, but I'm gonna say it for at least this week, because fans at home, whether it makes a difference or not, we do, because I'm always paying attention to, like you said, Stafford. How is he feeling taking hits? We didn't have him this entirety of training camp. And look, I know he's got a veteran, new player in Davante Adams, but heading in this game, he was questionable, dealing with that hamstring issue, and defenses have not figured out how to stop Puka. But Stafford's not 100%. This guy's got a back issue, and I think every single game this year, I'm nervous. He was hobbling last week when he went down with the Eagles. Dealing with that pass rush is no easy feat. But this is a guy that hasn't been involved at all during training camp, and I know he's a veteran, and I know Davante's a veteran, but I think when it comes to your offensive line and the rhythm of the game and I don't know if that's impacting consistency week in and week out. Because look, this was kind of a theme that they had last year. But I think, not having Stafford 100%, and he wasn't available this off season. Maybe can be a contributor to why we're seeing some of the question marks when it comes to these like penalties and issues on offense. And I'll probably stop saying this next week, because I think once you just talk about rhythm, he's been doing it for 17 seasons. But for me, it just feels like it's the defense carrying this team at the moment. And yeah, when you're up against guys like a Baker, or dealing with a team that certainly is not afraid to air it out, I think we will see more about what the rankings will shake out. Like you said, end of this week and heading into next week, I'll feel so much more comfortable kind of identifying where I think the Rams rank. But that's an interesting point that you make, that if the Rams won last week, you think everybody would be high on this team, and that might be a little smoke and mirrors at this point.
Yeah, I don't know about smoke and mirrors, but it's something else. It's something like that. It's something similar to that. I don't have the right analogy to make, but because I think there's concrete things we can say about this team. The running game, Puka Nacua, Davante Adams still is good. Still question marks at tight end. They're 12 personnel.
Right.
They've upped it to 30%, which was double their rate from last year. Their EPA per play, just in terms of moving the ball when in that formation with two tight ends, not great. It hasn't been working out. It's confusing. There's the Terrence Ferguson of it all. Tyler Higbee was great last year when he was available to play. Where are those plays? We saw a little bit of it today, but still more inconsistency there. But I think, to your point about Stafford's health, this offensive line it's got to find another setting, another.
Yeah, that's a good word.
Yeah, they got to change the setting. I don't know what it is, but
yeah.
Rob Havenstein allowed 8 pressures today. Larry Jackson had a tough day, 5 pressures. Justin Dedich, again, really struggling, 4 pressures. He's obviously filling in for Steve Avila. Steve Avila trending towards playing next week, I would imagine. And this isn't a world-beating defensive line for the Colts.
Right.
So, the more he gets hit, according to his wife, Kelly Stafford, he was at the hands of a free vasectomy last week against the Eagles. I always roll my eyes and love Kelly Stafford at the same time for the things that he comes up with. I love people like that just let stuff fly like that, because I'm not like that. I don't really. I try to be hot takey, but my biggest one, like Tutu Atwell hasn't been involved in the offense, but that's what I wanted. This is what I wanted to see from Tutu Atwell. 1-2 plays of games that are just like incredible, explosive passing plays. And his man fell down and he took advantage of it. So there you go. So I think that, consistency begins and ends with the offensive line, and they're not getting better. Rob Havenstein was on the injury report heading into this week as well. So maybe that played into it as well. But, you're going into this game, into this year with a right tackle who's got a lot of tread on those tires. He's played a lot of football over his more than 10 years playing in the NFL. So, yeah. And there's really nobody behind him. And there's no depth, we kind of liked Bo Limmer last year until he gave up that terrible, Jalen Carter sack at the end of that game. So, I mean, that's just kind of where I'm pointing right now. It's second, third receiver. Who's the other option? Tight end, and then the offensive line are probably where I come down on the inconsistency. And it should work. That's the most frustrating part. Even Tutu Atwell, it's like I can see where it should work. It just all of the pieces haven't come together yet. I felt that entire way through last year. Niners always going to be a tough game. They like to go to their tight ends. They they got Christian McCaffrey, so not an easy test per se. It'll be interesting to see the offensive line against their defensive line with no Nick Bosa, but young talent kind of coming in there. And then you get into some meat of the schedule against the Ravens and whatnot, and it's going to be fascinating. Going back to your point about like what can we concretely say about this team, it's just like it's going to be this way, guys. I think this is the team that they have.
Yeah. Yep. I need you to, get your yoga mat, do some deep breathing, maybe start a meditation app of some kind, because it's going to be a long season, guys. It's going to be a long season.
Do I seem that worked up?
No, I'm talking to the fans, but I think we all could do a little deep breathing and woosah, because it's true. It's like it seems like it's every week this theme. And the Rams have the second most travel miles, of course, because essentially they're on the West Coast. So for a 37-year-old, they're going to London. I want to say it's October 13. And so by the way, traveling as a 37-year-old quarterback with a not so healthy feeling back, also keep in mind, guys. So I think it's going to be a long season. I think that, the good news is you've got Sean McVay always at the drawing board. He's going to take this one home. He's going to take a look at it. But if I can glean from you, Ryan Anderson, as we do our week 4 recap, which I love, by the way, offensive line, got to really figure that one out. The inconsistencies, even of, again, for me, it's always kind of like, why are these guys inactive? I would like to see at some point an introduction to Terrence Ferguson. It just seems like he's not ready. And of course, I don't think the Rams are going to put him in any kind of, predicament type of situation. And then I agree. I want to see some consistency so that I'm not needing to take some type of prescription medicine to calm my ass down when it looks like the Rams might lose, which should be a winnable game. Which, by the way, last week should have been a winnable game. It should have been. So, but yeah, I'm glad I was able to catch you because, again, like I said, it's now 10:30 a.m. in Australia. I went to the AFL Grand Final, which, by the way, is the Super Bowl down here. And if you think Americans are passionate about football, it is a religion. It is an entire culture. It is not just men. Women are obsessed. Kids are obsessed. Grandparents are like losing their mind down here. And it has been absolutely unbelievable. Our assignment, we better get down here next season because guess what? The Rams are playing in 2026 at the Melbourne Cricket Ground, which is also very iconic. It's like, I think it's the largest stadium in the Southern Hemisphere, 100,000 plus capacity. It's going to be bananas.
Well, if I was going to follow a team, if you just pick one out for me, who's my AFL team? That's my gateway drug. I have to walk into one.
You should. There's so much commonality. Obviously, the rules are weird and different, and it's like they would say that about us, right? Like even conceiving that they're not wearing a helmet or pads and they're running after each other. I mean, it is freaking intense. I mean, it is. And by the way, it's awesome. Like, it's really, I can see why the Rams are doing this. I can get why the Rams this was a market that they were like, okay, it's going to make a lot of sense because contact sports down here is a thing. And they just love their sports. They just love their sports. And I think their AFL Grand Final, which was, essentially 2 days ago. So the Brisbane Lions ended up winning. That's who, I would say you could root for. But then after that, they want more football. So that's probably likely when the Rams, they haven't announced a date, they haven't announced an opponent, but that's, I think it's going to be a nice transition for Australians down here. I think a lot of Los Angelinos are going to want to fly down here, make it a trip. And yeah, no, it's amazing. It's a welcoming culture. It's a welcoming environment. They love their land. Everybody's nice here. Seems like everyone's in a good mood. And the food's great. I've been in Melbourne for the last maybe like week now. And Snoop Dogg they don't have a halftime performance. It's a pregame performance. Snoop Dogg made an appearance, and he was pretty unreal. And it's just cool. Yeah, it's just a very cool. I'm currently in like a wine country, as you can see behind me. So I apologize if my quality is maybe a little pixelated or if I'm coming in delayed. And we're 17 hours ahead of you guys. So today is Monday at 10:30 a.m. But the jet lag hasn't been terrible, and it's just been awesome to be down here. So I can't wait for the Rams to come. And we're definitely gonna make a work trip, a work assignment out of it. Oh, and they love to gamble. They love to bet. They bet on everything. So gambling and betting down here also very iconic.
I was going to comment, I forgot to, about the lovely wine background. At 10 o'clock in the morning, I was like, that's a very Australian way to start the day, I would say. Get a Foster's and a Shiraz.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, again, this is a win. Tutu Atwell, I gotta shout out the guy. I've been hard on him. Not just him, McVay, probably Stafford as well for not throwing to him, but gets a touchdown, changes the game. I got to shout it out just because I have been hammering it. So that's awesome. So, and thank you guys, everybody, for showing up. Got a couple last comments I want to throw up here. Back-to-back home games. That's good news. Mm-hmm. So Niners banged up. That's a winnable game. That should be one that they should be able to put together 4 quarters. Not much of a pass rush. Defense really struggled against the Jags. Jags, sneakily, what's their record? Are they?
Oh, that's a good question. I got one over the Niners.
That's right. Sneaky 3-1. Sneaky 3-1. Ravens. I got Jason here. I always love Jason's comments. Seems more beatable. We'll see next week. Lamar Jackson had a bit of a hamstring today. Really weird game against the Chiefs. I always have a hard time placing the Ravens. Obviously good, but it's a tough one. Anyway, go guys, check out Sleeper Fantasy. Download the app. Rams LAFB, sign up for that. If you're not yet on YouTube, following us on YouTube, do me a favor, subscribe. We're at 1.95 thousand, almost 2,000 followers, subscribers on YouTube. I'd love to get to 2,000 before the end of the month. So tell your friends. I'm going to give you guys a sneak peek behind the curtain. Google screws up our algorithm and knocks us out of rank constantly. And right now, they just did an update. And so we've been knocked out. Go click on some stuff on the website. I don't care if you read it. Just go thumb around there. Give me some views. I don't stick my hat out very often. And it's all free. There's take a few minutes and go click around. See what Ryan on the page is like. I'm a writer before I'm a podcaster. I kind of fell into this gig against my will. I mean, I was willing. I said yes, but I'm a writer. I'm not a podcaster. But guys, follow us anywhere. Twitter, Instagram. Follow Erin Coscarelli, Twitter, Instagram, wherever. She's a great follow. She's got great content. I'm not. Don't follow me on Instagram. I'm terrible. I post like twice. But Rams LAFB on YouTube, Rams LAFB Network on Twitter. Follow us there. Hey, we're on TikTok. Probably LAFB Network there. Hard to miss. So do us a favor. We love you guys. Thanks again for tuning in. We got 75 eyes on us right now. All of you. Go subscribe if you're not subscribing yet. Any parting thoughts? You're great, Aaron.
Oh, for me?
Yeah.
I have to go. This has been amazing. I think you do the best hot takes. So I will be seeing you Thursday night, but for me, it would probably be Friday. And yeah, thank you for chatting with me. And some of the game was kind of spotty, so I wasn't able to see every single bit. So I appreciate you breaking down your takeaways. And let's go Thursday night football against the Niners. Let's make
Short
it
week.
back-to-back wins at home. Short week. That's right.
There we go. Thanks so much, guys. Bye-bye. End stream.